let's go. It's Monday, the 18th of March. I'm just getting up. It's 9:05. Cheers. Let me just go. It's been an interesting weekend. It was good. It was a good weekend, but it was interesting, and by that I mean it was eventful. And I wanted to try to share, because I think things sometimes significant things happen. Okay, so without revealing people's identities, I talk about these folks. Just a second, I'm just waking up. I did go to the record show, but I want to talk about my friends first. I had, excuse me, like I said, I just woke up. I had to do an intervention this weekend. Not the typical type of alcoholic intervention. Some of you folks who know what I'm talking about when I say this. Mine had to do with a friend who was emotionally distraught, had done mushrooms, and sometimes you can have, mushrooms are not always the same. You can take the same a dose, but it's amount, but it's unpredictable how much of what is in that part that you took. Anyway, my friend had an emotional reaction, which was, it's not the problem of the mushroom. The problem was with the person not taking care of themselves and not being more aware. Anyway, I get a call on Saturday, not from my friend, but from his mother. And my friend is in an emotional state where he is on the edge and talking about suicide, and has freaked his mom out. She went to him and they called me, and I'm glad they did, because I'm glad to be retired, because doing this kind of work effectively is draining. And I was on the phone for an hour and a half with these people, but was able to help my friend get his wits about him, because other than physical illness, our biggest challenge in general in life is the minefield. And my friend, and I just went ahead and busted him in front of his mom, not about drugs, but about the way he's not taking care of himself, the way he gives into despair. And the bottom line is that he wants something, but he wants it now, and you just can't. It's something that you just can't have. You just can't have happiness. You have to work at it. You have to. It's not just gonna fall in your lap. You have to work at it. You have to, and you have to be honest with yourself. And my friend hasn't been honest with himself. He's not been taking care of himself, eating too much junk food, and it's part of what we talk about, because my hobby and my life focus, music and collecting records, as much as you can call that an escape, it's not an escape. I'm still in touch with me and the world. I'm not running away from anything or anyone, which my friend has been doing, like a lot of people. It was good to meet his mom finally and talk, because she, like most people, and I'm talking about pretty much all of you watching too, Most people do not understand the mind, the human mind and human behavior. I'm talking about most of y'all. Yeah, I'm talking about you. Most people don't understand human behavior and the mind and how we see everything through this focus, our receptor, And I was able to help my friend realize there was nothing wrong anywhere in the world. He didn't have to be freaking out physically and threatening to hurt himself because of thoughts that he's having. All he has to do is stop the thoughts. And we got to the point where, because you folks who have done psychedelics, if you do a strong dose, as it hits you in waves. And so he would have these waves of the chemical reaction rising and settling. And that's when he would start to freak out. Hey, they're gonna stop. And that's what I had to do. Just stop and settle your ass down. Talk to him, like most people, since people don't know, everyone thinks you need to piddle around and coddle people and be delicate and shit. If you know people, like I know this person, you need to get it in their face and let them know you need you right now. You called me, but now you need you. You called your mom too. Do you need your mom? Are you going to be straight with mom now? I didn't think so. So you better be straight with yourself. And even talked about, do you need to go to the hospital? This is on you now. That really shook his ass up. He said, okay, you going to handle this, or are you just going to flake out? And that's not a put down. This was necessary in this moment for this person to just get shook up. Are you a puddle of water that's can't hold it together? Are you really in that bad a shape? The answer was no. So I'm glad that happened. I'm glad I could help. But I'm glad I'm done as a professional. This sort of work is draining. It's also risky too. There was a risk that what I was saying could have tipped him over, but it wouldn't have been my fault. It's all in his head. But I know this person and he's smart. And it says, man, are you stupid or what? You gonna do something stupid? So that happened, okay? And I'm glad that I could help. These things help me stay grounded. In the comments, someone was, I guess, complimenting me about my path. That's nice, but I don't need anyone else's approval. I'm going to tell you that. And that's one of the things that I have really, I've conquered that. And most people don't. The way that you conquer it is to be right with yourself and to be honest with yourself and excise the parts of yourself that you dislike. Stop doing behaviors that bring you shame or make you feel bad about yourself and move on. That's my modus operandi. And so I'm good. But most people aren't. So get busy, all right? Get to work. I'm a mess too, but at least I'm honest about it. Okay. So there was a record show yesterday, and I went to it, and I had fun. I stayed at the record show for almost 2 hours, which I never do. I gave myself a limit to what I would spend, and I stayed at the limit. But I had fun, and I'll show you what I can find in Omaha. I need to explain. If I lived in a different city with the same amount of money, chances are I would have had a whole different set of music. This is all I can find for what I'm looking for in this area. And everyone knows me, everyone literally, and it was fun. There was a new person to the area with a table, and he didn't have anything. worth a shit. But he ended up giving me a record because he found out, you know, that I'm on records, and he didn't know me, and that was fun. Those little celebrity moments like that are kind of fun. I also ran in, another person was digging who I didn't know, shared with me that they watched me. I don't know why it didn't occur to me to ask your name if you watched the hello. Leave a message. Let me know. Is that you that I met at the record show yesterday? It was nice to meet you. I had a good time. I found some pretty good stuff. I paid collector's price for a couple of things because it was like, well, I gave myself the budget so I could do this. And if I don't buy this now, I probably won't see it because I haven't. Okay. That's the setup. Good copy. So let's just dive in. I got this. This is a reissue. It's not an original. I don't need an original of this. Some records I would like originals of. This is Todos Os Olhos. I think it translates to many eyes, many eyes. Tom Zay was is he still alive? He's a character. I don't have his whole story. I've read about him. Interestingly about this album, as I was playing it, I said, oh, there's that song. The first song I ever heard, the second song I ever heard by Tom Zay was a music video that I caught on TV, on cable, on Much Music back in the 90s or 2000s. And it was a song from this album. So there's controversy about the cover. And the controversy stays because I couldn't find the actual answer. This is a marble. It looks like a marble being held by two lips, but the controversy is that it could be a marble in a woman's anus. It looks like lips to me. This is a really good album. It's eclectic. I played the whole thing. I don't speak the language, and I know that would unravel more of what's going on here, but the spirit comes through. It's the inventiveness of the music that I'm most interested in, not the lyrics. That was something I was noticing about talking to Mark Manor recently. It's like the very first thing that he focuses on in listening to music is the words. It's like, well, why do the musicians even play if that's all you want to do is listen to the damn words? That's just me. Okay. Several records I bought were, not several, but some of the records I bought were replacements, so things that I had gotten rid of. And it's like, oh, I'd like to have that again, and here's one. Andy Partridge of XTC, his first solo album, Take Away, Lure of Salvage. When this first came out, either I bought it or one of my roommates bought it, but we had the original with the white label. This is a 1986 reissue. We played it to death. We really liked it. I like it a lot. It's dubby. It's dub. Through the sensibilities of Swindon. So this is fun and a real good listen. Excuse me. So this was a replacement, something I was been wanting to get back into the collection. This was a really nice find. Steve Tuco Jacobs was there. I don't know if Steve will see this because he told me about his new job, and he's not able to hunt for records like he used to. Some of his stuff I thought was overpriced, and so we had to dicker and get some things more reasonable. I still paid collector's price for two things from his table. I'll get to them. Things that I've been wanting for a while. So I said, okay, I budgeted for this, so I'm going to get them. But first, I found this at his table. Didn't know anything about it. Neil Norman, Not of This Earth. This came out in 1978. Okay, so that's kind of a goofy looking cover. the label, GNP Crescendo. It's one of those labels where it's like, it's got an interesting history and there's some interesting, strange records on the label. Then I looked at the back and I said, okay, and this was less than $20. I said, I'm taking a chance on this. Score. This is the kind of weird record from the past that I'm looking for. This is a mixture of R&B and electronics through this white guy who is related to the boss of GNP Crescendo Records. So he had resources available to him, but thankfully the person has some talent. The singing on here is, again, don't care for it, but musically this is very interesting. Now it starts off doing the Star Wars thing. I'm thinking, oh shit. But right after that, it goes up. And then on side 2, it gets even better. They have, he has as a guest, a fellow from Earth, Wind & Fire on synthesizer, Larry Dunn on side 2. And it really elevates the whole track. This was a really nice surprise. This is the sort of thing that I'm looking for, even though I'll take a chance on things where I know it's probably not psychedelic or kind of strange in a good way. This was a total score, not of this earth. Neil Norman. I don't remember ever seeing this record before, but again, the cover is goofy. Not exactly the sort of thing that I care for, but I said, yeah, that's... So I bought that. Here's one of the collectible records that I bought from Tuco Jacobs. He gave me a discount, but it wasn't cheap. But this is an original. Paul Parrish, The Forest of My Mind. Look at that. It's mint. And when I pulled it to play it, it's like, this is never been played. Or if it's been played once. Do you know this album? This is an album that... This is really good. This is truly psychedelic. The title track here, he uses consciously psychedelic effects, and the words are, but the whole first side of this album, side 2, it flags a little bit. The whole first side of this album is like, wow, this is really good, really, really well arranged. All the songs are really good. He's put out some other records, but I've been after this for a while. It was worth it. I was able to get him down below $50 for this, but it was like, and really, as I say that, nowadays, we buy brand new records for $50, don't we? So I was real happy to get this. Forest of My Mind, Paul Parrish. Actually played this twice yesterday. This is real good. Really good. As I was listening, I was saying, who would I compare it to? It would be some other obscure artist from the 60s and 70s. This is just really good. I was real happy to get that. I went ahead and got this because he promised me he would give me a break on the price. I didn't like the price. But I didn't have any Walker Brother albums, especially not on Philips, so I grabbed this. And this is really, in essence, a Scott Walker album. The other guys, I think, sing 3 songs. Everything else is Scott Walker. This is a mix. This is where you can hear Scott's going to be moving into what he does on his solo albums. But there are some really cheesy, horrible covers on here. They do Summertime on here. That's terrible for my taste. It's terrible. Some people should just have left that song alone. They also do Curtis Mayfield's People Get Ready. I don't know what the fuck somebody was thinking when they picked these songs for the Walker Brothers. Because it's like, y'all need to leave that. This is so old. I'm just being silly. Y'all need to leave that shit alone. Y'all can't sing that. The other stuff, like when they do Jacques Brel and stuff, there, now we're talking. I also like how Reg Guest and Ivor Raymond, I recognize those names. They went for the Phil Spector approach in a lot of their productions, the big wall of sound, and were able to get it for the most part. So that's a good album. Glad I got it. Here's another one where it's a replacement. I sold it because it was like here and now. So I bought this because of the Gong connection. This album is so-so. It's not really good, actually. It's kind of so-so. They sound a little bit stoned, okay? But when I saw it, it was only $10. You folks remember this? Looks like Steve Hillage, but it's not. That's Steppy Sharp Strings. So when I finally saw Gong live in the 90s, it was the guy from this band, Steppy Sharp Strings, on guitar. And he does an admirable Steve Hillage take on the songs. He's pretty good. So there was that. When I played it, it was like, oh yeah, I remember this now. I didn't make it all the way through side 2 because it gets just, it's just. So this is one for the collection. It's like I used to have it, now it's back. It fits. I explained the Gong connection. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. This could be a long video. We'll see. This one, thankfully, it was priced $12, and so I got it for I think $8 or $9. Steve Tuco, you came through. I think I bought the most from him yesterday. Tim Guthrie was there though, so I bought something from Tim. It was good to see Tim. From Germany, Wyoming. This is actually not a band, it's a guy. But I remember this cover. Die cut. I also remembered that it was on the Bacillus Records label. So those things alone, I knew I was going to get this. I knew that it could be a bust. It could be crap. It could be good. It's good. It's good. It's just straight rock. But there are some good tracks on here. Not all the tracks are good on here. Recorded at Dieter Dirk's studio, 1971. The other guys playing with him on here, Rainer Martz, I forget what band he was with. On the good songs, it's real good. There are songs on here that are skippable, and I just skipped them. Glad I got this. This is, again, the sort of thing where when I can find these things from my past, and there's a nostalgia aspect to this. I want to get this. There's a lot of records like this, and if I could just come across them cheaply, so I can needle drop them. And that's another part of it. Is I get to do a needle drop. That's what's fun. As much fun as it is to discover the music and see if it's any good, it's fun just playing a new record, isn't it, folks? So I had a blast yesterday. I had a blast. This is the one that I paid collector's price for. He gave me a break, but it was still expensive. But I've been after this album forever, and I'm real glad I bought it. And it's a real good record. The original Nirvana from the psychedelic era, UK, Simon Napier Bell's creation. This is their second album. I want the first one, Simon Simopath. I want that too. These are expensive. Compared to, this is mint. So that's why I agreed to pay what he wanted, although he gave me $20 off. Look at that. That's in mint. This is in mint. This is 1968. This is a very collectible record. It's in mint condition. And the first song on here is a staple of psychedelic compilations, Rainbow Chaser. Does that name ring a bell for any of you folks? I'm very happy with this purchase. I'm not going to tell you what I spent because it's like I don't want to be spent. Obviously, it's more than $50. Worth it. Played this all the way through. Yeah, this is one of those records where it lives up to the hype. This is very good production, very good songwriting, a real cool variety of what's going on. I was real happy to find this. This created a conversation with other record collectors. Mike, I forget Mike's last name. He's a bodybuilder now. He used to own a record store. He's a big collector and seller. He's rich as a result. He noticed what I'd got. And then he's the sort of guy that he's got. I like you, Mike, if you see this, but he said, "Oh, I know someone's got a UK island of that if you want that." And so, wait, hey, come on, man. I'm happy right now. So that was the big dollar. I'm just going to keep going. I may not get through all these, I might. But the other thing that Tuco Jacobs had that I went ahead and got, he gave me a deal on it. Throbbing Gristle's third and final report. This is an original. I used to have an original. This has been reissued. The cover is controversial because, as you can see, okay. Now, when I first got it, when I bought it when it first came out, it had a postcard, which thankfully it doesn't have the postcard. That would be considered child pornography, you know. And this is not, but it's like, what's going on here? You know what I mean? I'm glad I bought this. Hamburger Lady is hard to listen to, but the way this starts on side one is like, whoa, this is heavy, and it's intriguing. It's a good listen. It's like, what is going on here? So when I was able to ascertain that this is an original, because it has been reissued with this blocked out and also with it intact. This is an original. So I said, sold. I bought one record from Tim Guthrie. He had interesting stuff, but not for my taste. I mean, he had some stuff that I have, but mostly it was just like all this weird colored vinyl stuff. He's into that. So I bought this. The Octopus Project and Black Moth Super Rainbow. The House of Apples and Eyeballs. This is them working together. I really like Black Moth Super Rainbow. And this you can hear, I listened to this all the way through. I really like this. It's a weird sound. It's interesting, the blend of the two groups, because Black Moth have a very specific tone palette. Nice. This is a form of modern, I don't know, it's like it's being tuned in from another planet or something. Really like this band. Black Moth Super Rainbow. Tommy Emmy was there. He's a collector and interesting cat. I bought the Andy Partridge from him and the Here and Now, and I also took a chance on this. I keep it for now, but it's like I needed to hear it, but it's like, also because of the cover. Wilma, and also it's on the Subterranean label out of San Francisco. Early art punk records came out. And this is one of those. It's a women's band. Musically, it's kind of interesting and kind of percussive, but the timbre of the main singer's voice is off-putting. She can't sing. She doesn't have a good voice. And as you know, that was the thing about punk. Anybody can do it. But anyway, I'm not gonna get rid of this right away. I like the graphics, and it seems that I didn't get all the way through this. There may be something that redeems this from being sold. couple more, then I have to stop because I have to go. That coffee, but I've been on a half hour. This was less than $10. Je t'aime, Beautiful Love, Jane Birkin and Serge Gainsbourg. I'm glad I got this. This is still hot. If you've ever heard this and you hear Jane Birkin's breathy vocals, this is hot. It's very erotic. To this day, it's like, damn. You know, I can see how it was so controversial when it came out. I was like, good Lord, this is audio sex. And the album overall is kind of goofy. But, yeah, shit, I'll get that. Sure will. It was an original US. I can go a little further. Body, just hang in there, okay? This I knew was not psychedelic. Price was right. It's from that time period. There's eggs. Blue Jays, Nascence. I can tell by the cover, it's like, okay, it's just eggs, but that's an interesting image. What are these guys up to? Well, it's a horn band. It's a white soul horn band. More like Cold Blood than Chicago. And this isn't bad. I'm glad I bought it. The first two songs are the populist songs, like for everybody. Hey, little lady, that's the first song. You know what I'm saying? Hey, everybody, come on, ladies, check us out. And then the next song, what do you want from me, woman? You know, so typical of the time. But then they get to the third track, Freedom, Where Have You Gone? That's when we get into the social consciousness, and the band shows you what they can do. It saves the album. Plus, it's on this obscure old label, Map City. This also used to be fun for me as a kid, when I could afford to buy a lot of cutouts and just come home and open them up and see what does the label look like when it's, because there was a lot of indie stuff that got cut out that didn't make any money. Back in the halcyon days of the 60s and 70s, where record companies would just throw money at anything they thought was popular. I had this already, but not an original, so I had to get this. Scott Walker 2 on Phillips. I love his work. I love his voice. Yeah, I love his voice. And this music, my head trip. I've never been to England, but ever since the Beatles, there's part of my inner world has to do with this view of England. I've never been there, but this music conjures it up in a good way. And I got all the way through. This is the last one. I knew this was bluesy. I have their other album, but I've always liked this cover, A.B.Skhy, 1968 on MGM. I knew this wasn't going to be psychedelic, but he only wanted $5 and he gave it to me for $4. So I had a blast at the record show. I really did. Enjoyed people's company. Don't feel bad about what I spent. I stayed within my limit and found good stuff. How are you all doing? Hope it's a good day for you. It's a Monday. Let's just get it rolling, okay?